Hello everyone and welcome to Stellos Stadium on this Halloween evening. We have a treat for you tonight as we got a great game in Division II as the Alvirne Broncos stampede into the Gate C, trying to keep their postseason dreams alive, but standing in their way lurks the undefeated defending champs, the Bishop Guertin Cardinals. Hello everyone, alongside Tom King, I'm Ryan Richer, and tonight's game will showcase the best team in the state, Bishop Guertin. Head coach Tony Johnson and his staff have reloaded once again as the Cardinals are undefeated at 6-0 and are the #1 team in the power poll. They have just been blowing out their opponents as their margin of victory has been 39 points per game. And Tom, can we expect more of the same tonight?
Well, it's possible, Ryan. I think the win may be a factor depending on what BG wants to do. I think the one thing about this Guertin team this year that strikes me, and I think it strikes everybody, is their team speed. They have a lot of it. They have, it's all the way up and down the lineup, even on the second and third people on the depth chart. They're fast defensively, but they're also fast the way they run the football. And one of the guys who's been doing that lately, Adam Hall. And in a windy night like this, when you really have to be careful throwing the football, a guy like Adam Hall, number 28, will be a very big key for Guertin. And I just think that he's really come into his own. He had a great game last week against Keene. He had a 4-touchdown day. One of them was on a pass reception. One of them was on a kickoff return, 80-yard kickoff return. Another one was on a 45-yard run. Then he had a 52-yard run. So he has breakaway speed. But I think the fastest guy to watch for Guertin tonight, Mike Kelly, he has really got a lot of speed too. But he's not an every down type of back. They use him as a change of pace back. And he can change the pace of a game because once he touches the football, he can be gone in a heartbeat. That's the one thing these guys have in green, is they have players who can score from anywhere on the field. Alvirne does not have that. What Alvirne has is some size and a little bit of some pretty good play defensively, but they're going to miss a couple of key guys. They're going to miss one of them is Nick Goldsack, a favorite of mine. I think he's a really good two-way player. I think he's a throwback and he's an old-time football player, just loves to hit. He's a great linebacker and a great running back for tough yardage, and he's not going to be able to play tonight because of a concussion.
Yep, and speaking of Alvirne, they come in with a record of 3-3, riding a 2-game losing streak. But if they're able to win one of their last 2 games, they could possibly earn the 4th seed and possibly play Bishop Guertin if they end up beating Exeter next week. But they have a tough task tonight against these Cardinals. And you know what? This Bishop Guertin team is known for blowing out their opponents early in the first half. What does the Broncos have to do to keep this a close game going into the later
Well, I think, I think everybody could follow a lead from what Keene did to start the game last week. The onside kick, they recovered it. Now, I don't recommend the onside kick all the time because if you don't recover it, you give the other team good field position. But what they did was they had a couple of long, sustained drives. And you've got to keep the ball out of the hands of this Guertin offense. Yeah, you have to play keep away against Bishop Guertin. Not easy to do because defensively they have so much speed at linebacker, they're able to penetrate the backfield and throw you for a loss. And it's not easy. It's just not an easy thing to do. I saw this Guertin team lose for the first, be losing in a game for the first time this year, 6-0 at Keene. It didn't last very long. As soon as they touched the football on the kickoff, Adam Hall ran it back for a touchdown.
Yeah, like you mentioned, this Bishop Guertin has a lot of athletes with a lot of team speed, and Bishop Guertin will be receiving this to start this game. And we spoke about that team speed, and Adam Hall and Mike Kelly are deep for the Cardinals to receive this kick. As Alvirne will kick this one off, and we are on their way, and it's a short kick, and the loose ball, and Alvirne recovers it. That's Vincent Frasco, and Vincent Frasco comes up with the ball for the Broncos. Right away, head coach Bob Niblett goes with a short kick, and it catches the Cardinals off guard, and it's the Broncos' ball.
Well, like I said, take a lead from what Keene did, and that's exactly what Alvirne did. Although it wasn't strictly an onside kick, it was kind of a pooch kick. But nobody at Guertin wanted the football, and it was kicked to where there really weren't too many people. So Frasco's got some speed too. He's a good athlete. He has started on Alvirne since he was a sophomore on varsity, and he's a good player. So watch for him to do some things tonight too.
Yep, Vincent Frasco, the senior, will get a lot of carries tonight for the Broncos. Quarterback Patrick Reedy is under center, and he heads it up the middle. Short gain for number 24, Jesse Horn, for the Broncos, which should bring on a 2nd down and 9 for Alvirne. Like we spoke earlier, Patrick Reedy will be under center for the Broncos as their usual starter, John Baldwin, suffered concussion last week to win a Cunnet, and he's out for the game.
Yeah, he's the other kid I said that was going to be out for Alvirne. They're going to miss him a lot too. He's really a good player. You know, they don't have the big stud that they had last year on the offensive line, but they have some good linemen. Baldwin is certainly one of them.
2nd down and 9 for the Broncos at the 32. They hit up the number 21, Sean Sipsey, and he has a little bit of room and then taken down near the 30-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what. Against any other team, Simpson would have been able to turn the corner and run upfield, but Guertin with that speed, all of a sudden getting over there. Matt Bain came from the other side of the field and ran across the field to make that tackle, but he had the speed to do it before Simpson could turn the corner and make a large gain out of it.
3rd down and 8 at Bishop Guertin's 31-yard line. Reedy fakes the handoff. Now he's going to go deep, but this one is going to be intercepted by Bishop Guertin at the 15-yard line. Big stop by Bishop Guertin's defense right there.
Now there's Bain again. He was out with the receiver. Looked like he was trying. Looked like the quarterback was intending it, looking for Dan Connolly, but Reedy underthrew it, and it just didn't. That play just didn't develop right from the start. And Bain read it, and Bain was right there. And of course, you wonder too. We're not down there. You wonder what kind of a factor the wind played in that pass.
Yeah, going up here earlier in the game, the wind was blowing very heavily. That could have affected the pass. Now 1st down and 10 for Bishop Guertin at their own 17-yard line. Kelly goes in motion, looking for an open wide receiver. We're going to let this one rip, going all the way down the field. And that one is complete. Big game by Bishop Guertin. Number 13, Steve Kupia on the pass right there. And they're already in Alvirne Bronco territory.
Wow, he found St. Lawrence. That's their favorite target. And if St. Lawrence can get free, or Kelly, either one of them down the field deep, but they knew they were with the wind. And that allowed Koopa to get a little bit of mustard on that ball and throws it all the way down to the 40-yard line. That's a huge gain. That's a gain of almost 40 yards.
Koopa under center for Bishop Guertin. 1st down and 10 inside Broncos territory at the 39-yard line after that big pass to St. Lawrence. Hall goes in motion. They hit it right up to the middle, and that's a short gain for Bishop Guertin. Looks to be about a 5-yard gain for the Cardinals.
Now, Koopa sat out last week. He had a little shock to his ribs in the game against Catholic Memorial. Ironically, the 2nd time this year, or 2nd time in a year, that they've lost their starting quarterback in a non-league interstate game. But he's able to bounce back and play after taking a week off, just like Andy Valis did last year, and come back and play in this game. And Alvirne has felt the brunt of it both times, and they feel it on that Koopa pass.
Nick Phillips was on the game that time. They hand up to Phillips again. Nope, they're going to fake it to Phillips, and they pitch it to Kelly. Kelly to the outside. He's near the 30-yard line and taking out of bounds. Nice run by Kelly there on the option.
The option's a tricky play. You know, I'm not a big fan of it in high school football because I think it's awfully tough to be that precise and to hold on to the ball, you know, not fumble it on those pitches. You know, a quarterback is about to pitch the ball and he gets hit, loses the ball. Running back overruns the ball sometimes. But that time, Koopa and Kelly, they practice it a lot, and Koopa's gotten a lot better at the option.
After that game by Kelly, 2nd down and 2 at the 31-yard line of the Broncos. Kupia hands off to Hall this time to the right side before he's taken down right at the sticks. Should be another 1st down for Bishop Guertin.
Adam Hall, 3-yard carry, good enough.
Yep, that'll be good enough for the Cardinals for another 1st down.
And again, they basically use the pass to set up the run. You know, and that's and
will be 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line.
Hit that long pass. So now they've got it in the heads of Alvirne, and well, you know, Cooper's going to try again. He's with the wind, but no, what they do is they run the football. But they've run it, you know, Alvirne defensively right now is contained. They haven't allowed the breakaway run yet. That's what everybody in the crowd is going to wait for.
On 1st down, they hit up right to Phillips, and he gets a short game. Nope, he's still going. And this is Kupia on the option, and he's going to be down inside the 10-yard line. Fake me out that time. I thought they handed up to Phillips, but Koopa keeps it going and runs for another big 1st down for Bishop Guertin.
Well, Koopa, again, part of the job as a quarterback on the option, Ryan, is decision-making. Do I keep it? Do I pitch it? Koopa saw the hole. It was gaping wide on the right side. He has a quick step to the hole. He's proven that this year, and he was able to get the yardage down inside down to the 5-yard line.
1st down and 6. This time they hand up to Phillips up the middle, and he gets a short gain for the Cardinals.
Yeah, if they go in, once they get in the red zone, it's usually going to be Hall or Phillips on the carries inside the 10-yard line.
And you spoke of Hall earlier in the pregame. He had 4 touchdowns last week against Kane, 156 yards, so they like to get the ball into his hands.
Now Phillips with a nice run got down to the 2-yard line. I would guess that they may just go with Phillips again here.
2nd down and goal at the 3-yard line. Koopa under center. Koopa hands it up the middle this time to the left side, and Hall fighting for yards close to the goal line.
Yeah, didn't quite get in. Nice job by Alvirne to kind of kind of keep him out of the end zone. Right there in on the tackle for Alvirne was Colin Pilarski, 6'1", 160-pound junior. He played like he was about 180 pounds there because he was an impenetrable wall that Hall could not break through it down near the goal line. Now it's 3rd and goal. Again, I'm going to go with Phillips.
Cooper right up the middle.
Wrong again.
Wait for the signal. Touchdown, Bishop Guertin as they take the early lead 6-0 over the Alvirne Broncos with 8:02 to go in the first quarter. 30-yard drive. Bishop Guertin started this drive, I believe, inside their 15-yard line.
Started at the 17, Ryan. It took him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plays to score.
Just like that, that big hook up to St. Lawrence, and that was it. They got it inside Alvirne Bronco territory. A couple runs after that, touchdown by Steve Cooper, and they tack on the extra point by Ryan Card. It's 7-0 Bishop Guertin early in the first quarter with 8:02 to go.
I'll tell you what, one thing that Tony Johnson has stressed all year is his kickoff team and his team's ability, when they receive the football. And they won't have to worry about it here. They'll kick deep to Alvirne, but once Alvirne, if the Broncos have a chance, if they score in this game with first string is still in play and they kick off, the Cardinals better be ready for it, on the onside kick.
Now let's see if Tony Johnson maybe repays the favor and goes to the short kick this time.
No, I don't think so. I think one thing the Broncos, besides Frasco, don't really see a whole lot of speed on Alvirne's team. And that's one of the things that I think that has kept Alvirne from maybe making that next move from an almost playoff team, fighting for a playoff team, to a team that knows it's going to make the playoffs. I don't think the Broncos have had a lot of team speed over the last couple of years.
Jesse Horn and Sean Simpson, other people, other running backs in the backfield, they have some speed, but they're not as fast as Frasco.
Right, Frasco is a good player.
This one will be received at the 20-yard line. Nice little moves, and it's going to be taken almost near down the 30-yard line. That's where Alvirne will set up shop for their second possession of today's game.
Well, this is a big game for the Broncos, but it's not as big as you would think. They're 3-3 coming in and looking to make the Division II playoffs. So you say, well, we lose tonight, we're 3-4, we're going to be out of it, right? No, well, they play Timberlane next Friday. If they beat Timberlane, the two teams are 4-4, and they're the only two 4-4 clubs, they're in.
Yep, that'll be a big step for head coach Bob Niblett's team.
It certainly were, because this team didn't win a game 2 years ago.
That's number 21, Sean Sipsey, on the carry.
And I thought last year they should have made the playoffs. I thought they were good enough last year to make the playoffs, and so did Bobby Niblett, and they just lost a couple of tough games.
You're seeing this Alvirne program progressing each year and getting closer and closer to the playoffs before they're probably be a force to be reckoned with in a couple of years from now.
Well, that's the thing, is you wonder how they're going to react next year, because they've got a lot of 3-year starters on this team. A lot of guys that went through the growing pains of that sophomore season where they didn't win a game because they were starting a lot of younger players.
Reedy hands it off the middle this time. And flags down. I believe that was Frasco on the carry. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage.
Flag on the play.
This one's going to be holding against Alvirne. Push him back 10 yards.
Yeah, that was a quick call. They didn't waste any time in throwing that flag. Probably, if that's the case, it was probably right up front as soon as they got off the ball.
Yeah, it seemed right as soon as the play got snapped, right there was the flag. So it'll be a 2nd down and 19.
Guertin will take it. They'll push him back, I believe. Or have they declined it? No, they've taken the penalty. And don't forget, in high school football, most of the penalties are marked off from the spot of the foul.
Now, Alvirne has had the ball twice, but they're going against a very stingy Bishop Guertin defense. Has only allowed 6 points per game, pitching out 2 shutouts, and 3 times they've held opponents to 6 points. That's Merrimack, Timberlane, and one kind of 3 very good offensive teams. 2nd down and 20 at their own 20-yard line for Alvirne. Reedy under center. Reedy going to throw this one. Now going to run this one up the middle.
Now he almost tried a handoff, a desperation handoff, and I don't know. They're lucky they didn't fumble that football.
Looked like Reedy won no part of that ball, but minimum gain. That was going to be on 3rd down and long for the Broncos with 6:40 and counting. Bishop Guertin strikes first off of Steve Coopy. 1-yard run to make it 7-0 as the Cardinals are on top early in this first quarter.
That was quite a pass to St. Lawrence. I mean, knowing you're with the wind and everything, that's knowing the game plan and knowing where you are on the football field and what
3rd down, Reedy going for a long pass, and this one is going to be intercepted by Mike Kelly. Mike Kelly still on his feet, goes to the right side, has a host of blockers, and he might bring this one all the way back to the end zone, and yes, he is. Touchdown, Cardinals. Mike Kelly on the interception, had made a couple guys miss, had a host of blockers out in front of him, and touchdown Bishop Guertin.
Now, Ryan, the luckiest guy in the ETV production crew is going to be Pete Johnson, because he's going to get to replay, maybe run a replay of that, because we can't see it here live, and the folks at home are watching this live, but in post-production, they'll be able to see just how Mike Kelly didn't get stopped on that play, because I couldn't figure it out, because I was watching him, it looks like he was down, and all of a sudden he keeps running and he crosses to the other side of the field and scores. Kelly not only is fast, he's tough to bring down. He doesn't go down after the first hit, and that was enabling him to get that interception return for a touchdown of about 28 yards.
Tom, you mentioned it earlier, when this kid gets the ball in his hand, he makes big plays, and we just saw right there what type of big plays he shows up with as he took that pick six back to the house, and now 14-0.
So those of you who are going to watch this a couple of days from now, or whenever ETV decides to rerun it, you're going to maybe see a replay of just how Mike Kelly got out of that jam.
Man, that was a great pick off by Mike Kelly, and now it brings down the Broncos 14-10 as they trail with 6:11 to go in the first quarter. Bishop Guertin will be kicking this one off, and back deep for the Broncos is Vincent Frasco. So we've seen how quick striking this Bishop Guertin team can make on their second possession.
I think Alvirne's best chance to score is to get the ball in the hands of Frasco, even on a kick.
Yes.
Guertin's kick coverage hasn't been that great this year.
And Frasco going deep back, and this one is going to roll into the end zone. And
well, that's the object. That's what they always want. You know, that's what Guertin's had that luxury of over the last few years. And this year, Matt Christie has had some good kicks, and he's had some ones that aren't so good. So
Alvirne will have their third possession at their own 20-yard line.
Actually, Fury, the great running back for Timberland, returned one, but it wasn't one of Christie's kicks. Guertin was in a bind because Christie had a soccer game.
Oh, man.
And they were on the road. It was a Friday evening, and they were starting the game. Not only were they on the road, they were starting the game a half hour early because of the Eastern Equine scare, and so out in Plastow, they started at 6:30. There was no way Christie was going to get there in time for that game.
Reedy hands this off to Sipsy. Sipsy has a nice little short gain there for the Broncos.
Yeah, Sipsy's run the ball pretty well for them tonight.
And as you talked about that game against Timberlane, this defense for Bishop Guertin, they held Timberlane Owls to only 6 total yards in the first half. And when you have a back like you can hold Derek Fury to that short of yards in the first half, that's a great defense.
Well, I'll tell you what happened in that game. Fury was playing defense, and he took a couple of blows, one of them courtesy of Nick Phillips, and that kind of got him off his rhythm.
Sipsy on the carry this time again, but he's met down at the line of scrimmage. It's going to bring down a 3rd down and 6 for the Broncos.
It's got to be the best defense that Tony Johnson, and he's had some good ones. It's got to be the best defense he's ever had. Probably the fastest defense he's ever had. And I think that it really goes in it really follows the lead of their linebackers. You know, guys like Nick Solano, Nick Phillips is out there, Walter Kell. I mean, these are good, fast linebackers.
Reedy's pass gets deflected at the line, and an incomplete pass for the Broncos on 3rd down and long at their own 22-yard line.
That brings it to 4th down.
That looked like that might have been on the deflection. I didn't see. Might have been Travellini. Anthony Travellini getting his big hands up there. Travellini is about 5'11".
Yes, I think it was Travellini who just put his big hands up. He knew he couldn't rush the passer, Reedy, so he just put his hands up, deflected the ball. Great defensive play right there.
For Reedy, I mean, let's face it, Travellini's 5'11". We're not talking about somebody who's 6'3", 6'4" here. You've got to get that pass over him.
This punt gets away. Kelly deep at his own 40-yard line.
Here we go.
Kelly has the ball in hands. Watch out, folks. Makes a couple of misses. He's on the right sideline. Has it in the open field. Has some more room. He's down at the 20, it looks like. Might have fumbled the ball. Ball came loose.
Mike Kelly has a big return.
But Bishop Guertin holds on to it, and they will have the ball.
Yeah, Kelly, I think, held on to it. Either it bounced on the turf and he snagged it and brought it in with his right hand because he came up holding the football. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Guertin at the 21-yard line, although the Cardinals have someone down on the field.
Can't see who's down on the field for Bishop
And
I'm
right
now.
Trying to look with the big glasses, but can't quite see.
Seems like the injury happened at the end of the play.
It's like 34, Harry Carver. 5'10", 189-pound senior. Guy whose name we haven't called too much this year, but obviously he's on kickoff coverage and special teams for Guertin.
Carver gets up. That's a good sign.
He's getting up, and he looks fine.
Now back to that nice run by Mike Kelly. Once he gets the ball in his hands, he had a nice run. Followed his blockers all the way down to the 21-yard line. Once again, in Alvirne Bronco territory.
I have to correct myself. Carver doesn't quite look fine. Looks like he's limping off the field and needs a little bit of help. A couple of players have to come and help Coach Tony Johnson and his training staff to get him off the field, and there he comes. Yeah, they're almost carrying him. He just cannot put any weight down on that left leg. So that's no fun when you're a high school football player and you get hurt.
Especially so close to ending the season. You don't want to end your season right now with only a couple more games to go.
Guertin's done a pretty good job. They, other than Cooper, they haven't really lost too many guys. They don't have many games.
Cooper, now they're going to the option to the left side. He pitches this. This is open field. And now we have a nice short gain there for Bishop Guertin.
That was Cassis on the carry. He got back down to the original line of scrimmage, the 21-yard line, maybe gained a half a yard. That just didn't seem to have the rhythm. Cassis had to wait for the pitch. And there's a flag down, and we'll have to see what that call is. It looks like it's going to be against the Cardinals as the offensive unit is moving backwards. And you can see there, look at the wind blowing those leaves around the field. Yeah, that's why that option didn't look so good, because it was out of sync from the start because of an illegal shift.
Nice play by the Alvirne Broncos defense that time, staying at home defending the option. Now it's going to be a first down and 15 after the penalty at Broncos 26-yard line. Koopa under center. Phillips in the backfield for him. Koopa fading back to pass, going deep. This one to Mike Kelly. Mike Kelly in the end zone. Touchdown to Mike Kelly. Koopa to Kelly for 26 yards.
Not only does Kelly have speed, he's got good hands too. He can catch the football, and he had a step on the defender and was able to haul it in.
Koopa threw that ball nicely where only Kelly could come up with it.
Hey, good point, Ryan. You're right. That ball was thrown only where Mike Kelly could catch it. And that is huge when you're a high school quarterback, or actually at any level, any kind of quarterback. Put it where your receiver is the guy who has the best chance to come up with the football. And already it's 21-0 with 4:19 to play here in the first quarter. And this is nothing that people who have been to BG games all year haven't seen before.
Recap of Bishop Guertin scores right now. Koopa, 1 yard rushing, right up the middle, 1 yard touchdown run. Then Kelly, interception return for a touchdown. Then Kelly, Koopa to Kelly on a 26-yard catch for a touchdown with 4:17. That's where we stand, 21-0. Cardinals up top over the Alvirne Broncos.
Yeah, Koopa with a touchdown pass. A touchdown pass, a 23-yard run to set up his own 1 yard touchdown run. Not a bad week back after having a week off.
Yes, very good week so far. Start for Steve Koopa. Bishop Guertin will be kicking this one off. Vincent Frasco is deep for the Broncos, trying to get something together for the Broncos. They trail 21-0 with 4:17 to go in the first quarter. Frasco will receive this at his own 9-yard line. Frasco at the 15, at the 20 before he's taken down at the 19-yard line. Great stop that time by number 51, Brett Connor.
Great stop that time, and a great job by the Guertin kickoff team to basically limit the field on Frasco. He really decided once he made the commitment to go to his right, all of a sudden there were just too many green jerseys in that area of the field.
Even on special teams, this Bishop Guertin team has a lot of team speed, and you're seeing it right now.
Yeah, I think the problem that they've had on kickoff coverage is basically staying in their lanes and tackling.
That's what you want to have your players do. Don't break the rules. Just stay in your lanes. Reedy can hit this one up to the middle, but he's going to be met in the backfield. That was Jesse Horn on the play, but he's brought down in the backfield.
Well, that's Jesse Horn's found out what a lot of other running backs have found out, that this Guertin team on defense spends basically half its time in your own backfield. And that's exactly what happened there, as he loses a big-time loss of about 3 yards.
the Alvirne offense line is getting no push against the defensive front.
And, you know,
for
and the
Bishop
thing
Guertin.
is, you know, Guertin players, you talk to them, they will tell you over and over again, we are not that big. You know, and they think that a lot of teams don't take them seriously up front because they don't have that size. But what they're able to do is get off the ball quicker than most other teams.
Reedy hands this up to 24, Jesse Horn.
Look at that.
Jesse Horn man in the backfield again.
He has seen nothing but green jerseys. And you wonder how much they miss Baldwin up front.
Yeah,
to set the tone for that offensive line for Alvirne.
I'm with you. I think when you have John Baldwin in, he at least gives you at least a presence of passing where Reedy hasn't been able to show that he can get the ball past the line of scrimmage. With his one pass got deflected at the line. Now it's going to bring on a 3rd down and 14 for the Broncos at their own 20-yard line.
Yeah, Alvirne has only 3 yards on offense totally right now.
Right now,
So,
nothing is clicking for the
3
Broncos.
yards on offense and 2 picks by their quarterback. So nothing's happening offensively for the Broncos.
Reedy under center. Reedy going to feed back the pass. And he's going to go deep this time, but it's going to be intercepted again. By number 20, Mike Kelly, his 2nd of the game.
That's Bain on the interception, and that is Bain's 2nd of the game. Pick your poison. You know, you can try to run the ball and spend time, have your running back just look and say, where am I going with this thing? Or you're going to try to throw the ball downfield, and Reedy's just having a tough game. 3 interceptions. He threw that, looks like up for grabs. It looked as if the receiver got held up a little bit and wasn't able to get out there to where Reedy wanted the ball, where Reedy wanted him for that reception.
Yeah, it looks like he was going to go for number 18, Evan Anya, but Anya seemed to be held up or broke off his route a little too early and intercepted. They go with a little reverse here. Then now this one is number 20, Mike Kelly, to the left side. It has a short gain for the Cardinals.
Good job by Alvirne on that time. Number 81 for the Broncos was right there. Benjamin Abusevich. And Abusevich was there to kind of, he's the biggest body that was out there. 6'3", 255, and he made sure he was in position and that there was no place for Kelly to break away. Got to keep the field short on Mike Kelly. Can't give him a lot of real estate.
Once you give him a lot of real estate, we've already seen what happens. He brings this one back to the end zone.
And he got 5 yards on that, so it's still a good run.
2nd down for the Cardinals. Kupia loses the ball. This one, he's just going to pounce on it, but big loss that time for the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's a tough play for Kupia. Again, that's trying to get a little bit fancy with that option. He was thinking of making the pitch and didn't have the ball quite fully in his hands after he made a fake handoff to Phillips. And, the good thing is that for Guertin is that Kupia was able to pounce on it and recover it, but still at a big loss of about 7 yards.
Like you said, sometimes the option can be rewarding in high school, but it can also hurt you.
I've seen it hurt Guertin's program over the years, but it helps.
Kupia going deep. And this one is going to be almost intercepted.
Should have been intercepted.
I believe that was number 15.
And that was Ian Geddes. Was that Geddes or was that number 14 or
number
15?
14.
That was 14. That was Geddes who was there. Geddes in position to make that pick.
Number 14, Ian Geddes.
Geddes saw that play before this on their other possession for Bishop Guertin. He wasn't going to let a Cardinal wide receiver get deep on this time and made a nice play on the ball.
So that ruins Kupa's perfect night. A couple of tough plays for Guertin. You look after Kelly rips off 4 or 5 yards, you think they're just going to keep moving and moving and moving, but sometimes you can beat yourselves. Look at those leaves being blown around on the field behind Kupa.
4th down and 6. They're going to go for Kupa. They had trips to the right side. Kupa looking for an open man, and this one is incomplete. Great defensive play by the Broncos defense right there for a big stop.
Yeah, Kupa under a little bit of pressure. Everybody knew he was going to throw the football. Looked like that pass, a little bit underthrown to Andrew Perella, but you know what, Ryan? I always like when a quarterback is going to make a pass on 4th down or 3rd down, throw it beyond the sticks. Get that ball beyond the sticks. Yeah, you can get the run and catch sometimes if you're running a screen or something like that, which I thought they may have tried to do here as a screen to Kelly when I saw Kupa kind of trying to buy some time in the backfield, but no, he was panicking. And he threw it to Perella, and he underthrew it. And the Broncos, nice defensive stand by Alvirne. They take over 1st and 10 at their own 33.
Reedy under center. He hands it up the middle. This time, short gain for Alvirne. That's number 24 for the Broncos. Number 24 is Jesse Horn.
Mitch Phillips and Elias Cassis.
Yeah, not much room, but at least that time Horn was able to get positive yards and not be tackled in his own backfield. Got to be frustrating for this Alvirne offense, especially in a running game, but especially for Reedy too, because he looks back, with the team speed. One thing that Guertin does very well defensively is they very rarely leave a receiver wide open when they've got their first unit in.
Now Alvirne going to split wide receivers to each side. Reedy going back to pass. He's going to go, and this one is, I believe, incomplete.
Oh, Reedy had to unload it because he was under pressure. And, if he was able to get it out there quickly enough, Connolly wasn't able to hold on to the football because Reedy kind of unloaded it before Connolly was ready to catch it, but it was in Connolly's hands. I thought he was going to come up with the football.
Connolly looked like he almost wanted to get up and run before he actually had the ball in his hands.
Guertin did a great job. Looked like Pat Rhodes was on the blitz, and Rhodes was almost right in Reedy's face when he was unloading that football.
3rd down and 8 for the Broncos at their own 35-yard line. They find themselves down 21-0 to the defending champs, Bishop Guertin Cardinals. Reedy going to fake back the pass, and he's hooked up with number 33, but he is met right there at the 36-yard line, so he goes nowhere.
Well, that time Reedy did the good thing. He took a 2-step drop and fired it. Got rid of it fast and hoped for the yards after the catch. Only 3 yards on that pass. But at least something positive for Alvirne, even though they're going to have to punt the football on 4th and 5 as the first quarter comes to a close.
Yep, we played one, and it's been all Bishop Guertin so far, 21-0. And Tom, we haven't seen much from this Alvirne Broncos offense at all. Our defensively, they've had a hard time playing with Bishop Guertin right now, as Bishop Guertin showed a lot of team speed and making a lot of big plays.
Well, what that team speed has done, Ryan, it's enabled them to get in the Alvirne backfield, Alvirne offensive backfield. And, really, when you're timing, offense in football, and especially on high school level, is all about timing. And when your timing is disrupted, you're not able to make many plays, and you're going to make more mistakes. And they've got 3 interceptions in the books. And, Guertin's capitalized on 2 of them. Yep. So it's unfortunate for Alvirne that they weren't able to capitalize on the momentum of that opening kickoff the way Keene did last week. Keene took that ball at the 45-yard line and 47-yard line actually, and drove it all the way down the field and took advantage of a couple of penalties. This time, Guertin made the defensive stop and got the ball back on an interception.
Alvirne punts this one away, and Bishop Guertin will have this one at their own 40-yard line.
That's Payne.
Payne making a couple of moves. Now he's in the open field to the left side before he crosses midfield, and that's where Bishop Guertin will set up shop.
Yeah, we got a flag
on the flag.
There's a flag on the far side of the field. See that little yellow cloth there?
Yes, I do. Nice run by Matthew Bain to make a couple defenders miss, but this one looks to be coming back, possibly blocking the back or holding against the Cardinals. Let's see what the refs have to call here.
Yeah, it's going to be moved back. All they've done is point towards Guertin's direction. They've done a lot of pointing,
That's the only thing that's gone wrong for the Bishop Guertin Cardinals right now.
Jimmy Moylan, the official, and comes back and signals that it's going to be Guertin's ball, but it's a block in the back, and the ball will be marked all the way back at about, let's see, the spot of the foul is the 45, should come back to about the 34, and that's where they're going to put it, right at the 34-yard line. How did I know that?
Correct, Tom, right at the 34-yard line.
How did I know that? This might be running territory now for Guertin. Don't forget, they're with it going against the wind now. Evidently, I mean, I have to think that's the way they've looked at it, because when they had Kupia throw the ball downfield on that first possession. So they'll run the ball here.
They hand this one right up the middle for a short gain for Cardinals.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a steady diet of Adam Hall right and Adam Hall left.
And that was Bain on the carry for the Cardinals.
Well, wrong again. Actually, was that Bain or was that Cassis? I think that was Cassis with the carry.
Excuse me. Cassis gets a nice 3-yard gain for Bishop Guertin, which will bring on 2nd down and 7 at their own 37-yard line as they're up with 11 minutes to go in the second quarter. 21-0 over the Alvirne Broncos.
Yeah, we've got a timeout on the field. It's going to be timeout Alvirne. They saw something that they didn't like on defense, or something that they saw in Guertin's offensive formation. The one thing that you wonder, that you would always worry about if you're Tony Johnson coming into this game in particular is right before the Exeter game, which is the game of the year. could be the game of the year 2 times over if they meet in the finals. And you don't want your team looking ahead. And Alvirne's got some athletes on him. I think if Goldsack was in this game and if Baldwin were playing, then Alvirne would be more of a threat. And Guertin would be really worried about looking ahead to Exeter. And that doesn't happen tonight. They've come and taken care of business with 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. Now you wonder if they get more, and if you get to the point where it's running time in the second half, what do you do with your starters? You take them out?
That is a very good. I was thinking about that earlier today.
With a big game next week, don't you want them in condition to play 4 quarters? Because they're going to need to play 4 against Exeter. So you wonder what's going to happen in that situation.
Cooper hitting this right up the middle to Hall, and Hall will be taken down close to the 40-yard line. Yes, Tom, that's a very good point. And it's not like Bishop Guertin has played that much the whole year, 4 quarters, because they've just blown out their opponents.
Had to. Last year, Tony Johnson took his starters out against Keene last week. He had to put them back in because his second unit wasn't doing the job against Keene starters, and so that's something that you've got to look at.
So 3rd down and 4 for Bishop Guertin at their own 40-yard line. Koopa under center. Koopa hands it right up to the middle. I believe that is Hall, close to the 6. That should be another first down for Bishop Guertin.
And that's the one thing we haven't seen tonight is we haven't seen Guertin student body right, student body left. Just hand the ball off, and run it down somebody's throats, which they're capable of doing. They've mixed and matched, done the option, gone wide. But with Hall running the football right there, that was his best run of the night for a 4-yard gain and a first down, 5-yard gain and a first down.
Another first down for Bishop Guertin as they have this at their own 45-yard line.
Because I think in the direction they're going in, Ryan, they're going to have to run the football an awful lot.
Koopa under center with a loaded backfield.
And of course, what do I do?
He's got to fade back to pass.
Throw it.
And he has an open receiver, but he just overshoots him.
Well,
incomplete pass.
I think Koopa was going for Pat Rhodes on that play. I think Koopa thought he was going to see a lot of wind and was trying a little bit of a touch pass and overthrew the play.
Rhodes had one-on-one with Alvirne's defender, but Koopa overshot him.
Yeah, and I thought it was good defense by Alvirne too. They were right with him.
That was number 18, Evan Anya, defending Rhodes. They hand this one up the middle, but great stop by Alvirne defense as Hall could go nowhere.
Yeah, the one thing, and shaking his fist mightily right there, is Jeremy Baker, the senior nose tackle. That's one thing that Alvirne has done very well tonight up front. They have not allowed a lot of straight-ahead penetration.
This front 4 for Alvirne is pretty good. They have been playing very good against right now on this drive against Bishop Guertin as they haven't been giving up that many big runs to Adam Hall and company. 3rd down and 10, Koopa letting this one rip, and he has an open Cardinal receiver wide open, taking down, makes another man miss, and at the 15-yard line, he's going to bring this one in. Touchdown, Bishop Guertin, number 17, Scott St. Lawrence.
Well, what he did was he shaked and baked, and all Jesse Horn from Alvirne did was bake. He didn't shake, and so St. Lawrence was able to go to his left after he made the move, and no one could keep him because the entire Alvirne secondary committed to this side of the field after St. Lawrence caught the ball because it looked like that's where he was going to run to. He shifted and made Horn miss, and off to the races and another touchdown.
Card kicks this one up, and it is good. 28-0. Bishop Guertin on top, 19-20 to go.
45-yard touchdown pass. Actually, a 55-yard pass.
St. Lawrence had about maybe 20 yards after the catch, made some nice moves, and brought that one all the way to the house for Bishop Guertin.
He's got 2 catches for 99 yards. Not a bad night for a high school receiver already, and we're still with 9:20 to play in the first half. And don't forget, folks who are watching this game, if there's a 35-point margin or more in the second half, not in the first half, but in the second half, the clock will run continuously, stopping for only certain things such as penalties, timeouts by coaches, or injuries. Those are the 3 main ones that they stop for. They won't stop on an incomplete pass. And so the clock will keep running, and that shortens the game a little bit.
Well, I think that's been the story of BG season so far. I bet they've had a lot of running clocks in the second half. They've been blowing out their opponents.
And the thing to remember in that is if it comes back under 35, they do not go back to standard time, regular time. They keep running the ball. And speaking of time, those of you who are at home, don't forget tonight, turn your clocks back 1 hour.
Oh, good reminder, Tom. Vincent Frasco will return this. He makes a couple moves, and he's going to be taken down about the 26-yard line for the Broncos.
Now, if you're Alvirne, you're down 28-0. What do you do offensively? You know, you try to pound the ball. You're not going to get a lot of points back in a hurry. Remember, Koopa had the wind throwing downfield. The wind is not much of a factor the way they're throwing the football tonight. I am really surprised about that. And so I look for Reedy to come out and throw the ball again.
Yeah, what you've seen from Koopa, he has two touchdown passes, but they had two big hookups to St. Lawrence, and we'll see if Pat Reedy can get something going for the Broncos as they are trailing 28-0 right now. The running game has not been able to work, Tom. I think pretty soon head coach Bob Nibbler is going to have to open up the playbook. First down and 10 for the Broncos at the 27-yard line. They hand this one up the middle, makes a couple of moves, and he's going to have a nice short gain there. I believe that's number 21, Sean Sipsey.
Sipsey got a nice foul. It's the best Alvirne run of the night. Right after, when I said Guertin's going to have to run the ball, they throw it. You say Alvirne's going to have to throw the ball, they run it.
We're doing the exact opposite of what you were talking about.
We can't predict anything up here. Nice 5-yard gain by Sipsey. That's the longest run from scrimmage of the night for the Broncos.
Bring on a second down and 5 for the Broncos at their own 33-yard line. With 8:45 to go in the first half, they find themselves down 28-0. Reedy under center. Reedy will hand this one up, I believe that Sipsey again gets a short gain, maybe got back to the line of scrimmage.
No, it wasn't Sipsey. Sipsey was ahead on the block. I think that was Horn. So that was Jesse Horn on the carry.
24, Jesse Horn on the carry.
Horn only got about a yard. Sipsey gets a yard like that, I want to keep going to the guy who's hot. And, Sipsey's showing me tonight that he's the guy who's got a little bit, not a hot hand, but, that 5-yard game was the best they'd had. Keep giving it to him. Maybe he can get hot with a few more carries.
Yes, I'm with you. He's been the running back for Alvirne that's showing the best burst right now in the backfield. But now it's a 3rd down and 4 for the Broncos at their own 34-yard line. Reedy fakes the handoff. Now he's going to look for
this could be a pick 6.
That is intercepted by Bishop Guertin. They're going to take this one all the way back to the house. Touchdown, Bishop Guertin. Number 32, Nicholas Carlucco. 34-0 now. Bishop Guertin on top.
That's 4 interceptions for Reedy. But I'll tell you what made that play was the block. A block by Matt Bain. And I didn't see who he blocked, but he laid a lick on somebody in a maroon gold and white uniform that allowed the defender to run it, Carvelli to run it all the way back for a touchdown. That block made that play.
Card tacks on that extra point. Now 35-0, Bishop Guertin with a commanding lead over the Broncos with 7:44 to go in the first half. Now Reedy and company are going to have to come back on the field and try to not make another mistake as they've just thrown 2 interceptions already.
4 mistakes, 4 turnovers. You can't, I can almost tell you what Bobby Nibbler's going to say after the game. The Alvirne coach, he's going to say, you can't make mistakes against a team like this. They're going to kill you. And that's what's happened.
Yep, they've had 2 pick sixes.
2 pick sixes returned for touchdowns already.
And incidentally,
and this is not a bad football team. This Alvirne team has got some athletes on it. It's not a bad team.
Nope, they've had a great season so far, but they're just...
I wouldn't call it great. I think after losing 2 games, I think they thought they were going to have a good season a couple of weeks ago when they had their road trip, and then they come home. They win at Spalding, they win at Keene, they win at Dover. That's a pretty tough 3-week grind on the road. Then they come home and they play a Winnicott team that was really desperate, and Winnicott beats them at home, and then they get shocked by Merrimack. That's got to hurt them in terms of the way that they thought their season was going to go. That Merrimack game may be the real game that costs them the playoff berth if they don't beat Timberlake next week.
Yes, I agree. In those last 2 games against Winnicott and Merrimack, they both got shut out. No offensive performance by the Broncos that time. Frasco let that kick go over his head, so Alvirne will start this possession at their own 20-yard line. Reedy getting the play from the sideline. I think after that interception, we might see a couple runs by the Broncos.
Well, they got away from Sipsy carrying the ball. You know, he gets a 5-yard gain, then they go away from him. I would have just kept steady diet of Sean Sipsy. Let him see what he can do in the interior of that Guertin defense. Run it right up the middle and see if you can run right at him. Don't let them use their speed side to side.
Reedy hands this on in the backfield, but the run back, Jesse Horn, was met by a host of Cardinal defenders. He's going to be taken down for a loss.
Boy, Horn is just going to have, you know, Horn is going to hate the color green by the time this game is over with.
Yes, I have to agree. Great rush by the front four for Bishop Guertin as they drop Horn for a 1-yard loss.
Well, it looked like it was about a 10-yard loss the way they carried him for all those yards, isn't it? Didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did, Tom. 2nd down and 11 for the Broncos at their own 19-yard line with 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. Bishop Guertin up huge, 35-0. Reedy hands this one up to Jesse Horn on a sweep, but he's met in the backfield once again. Cardinals not fooled on the sweep that time.
Actually, they gave it to Sipsy. They went back to Sipsy on that play. Sipsy had a couple of good moves, but he ran out of room running wide. You know, his success was running it right up the middle.
Yep, I think against a team like Bishop Guertin with all that team speed to the outside, you have to go run north-south.
Yeah, I think so. You can't go east-west. You can't allow them to go laterally on you. Sipsy loses 2 yards himself.
So 3rd down and 13 for the Broncos. Another 3rd down and long for them at their own 17-yard line. Horn this time split as a wide receiver to the left side. Reedy going back deep to pass. Goes over the middle, and this one looks to be intercepted. Is it?
It is.
It is. Intercepted by Bishop Guertin, number 17, Scott St. Laurent.
No, that was James Kimos, number 47, who picked that pass off. And I'll tell you what happened. Kimos going for the ball. He tips it up in the air, and he grabs it. He had Elias Cassis right behind him. I guarantee you, if Cassis had gotten that ball, he was probably gone down the left sideline for another pick 6. Or at least he would have made a lot more yards. But Kimos tipped it and then fell backwards. So when he got the ball, he had his momentum carried him to the ground and ended the play right there.
1st down and 10 for the Cardinals at Alvirne's 28-yard line.
Here's the option.
Here's the option again. Nice run by Koopa. He gets about a 4-yard gain on the play.
Well, they've taken Koopa out of the game now. They put Chris Kujawski in. Kujawski did a great job last week against Keene directing this offense in Koopa's absence. They have faith in both quarterbacks. Tony Johnson said it was pretty close at the start of the year who was going to be the starter, and he went with Koopa. I think he went with Koopa because I think he thought Koopa had the good arm and had more experience at the position because he played a little bit last year. But Kujawski with a good run gets about 4 yards.
Yeah, we've seen Koopa's arm today throwing for 2 touchdown passes. Now we'll see what Kujawski can do.
I think you may see that's it for Koopa for the night.
Kujawski going with the option to the left side. He pitches it this time and have a nice run for the 1st down for the Cardinals.
Tommy Barilli takes the pitch.
That's not bad for Kujawski. He's not really that experienced at the option.
Tony Barilli takes the pitch for the Cardinals and another 1st down for Bishop Guertin.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the Cardinal 15.
I haven't seen Barilli carry the ball too much. He's been hurt and only playing one way for Guertin. So he gets, what, about 15 on that carry?
Yes, I believe so. 1st down and 10 for the Cardinals. Mike Kelly in the slot. Watch for him. They hit it right up the middle to Barilli. Again, Barilli has some nice run room, and it's close to, and it's going to be another touchdown for Bishop Guertin. Barilli, another 15-yard touchdown run.
Boy, I'll tell you, what a tough night for the Broncos. Following a tough this is a tough 3-week stretch that they didn't expect. Now, they may not have come in and expected to win tonight, but I'm sure they expected to compete a lot better than they have.
Yes, this Bronco team has some good defenders on defense, but they have not been able to stop this high-power offense by Bishop Guertin.
Well, especially when you give this high-powered offense a short field, Ryan. I mean, that makes it just easier for them.
Low snap, and it's going to be blocked. Yep. Extra point is no good. Ryan Card's kick could not get over the line of scrimmage, and now it's going to be 41-0. Bishop Guertin with a commanding lead with 5:21 to go in the second quarter.
That's a big miss because because when you look at it, for Guertin's standpoint, in terms of lengthening or shortening this game and getting your players not out there very, very long because you want them healthy for the next week against Exeter, Alvirne scores, they get it under 35 points. Second half starts with a 34-point deficit. They will go normal clock. I think if you're Guertin, you don't want to rub it in the other team's face, but you'd like to get to that running time for this game. Now, I'm sure that's not on Tony's mind, but as an observer, you're looking at it. The longer you're out there, the better chance you have of getting hurt, no matter who it is, whether it's a second or third teamer to affect your depth or a first teamer. So what you want this game the way it is now. You want it in running time, because when injuries happen when games get out of hand.
They want to wind it.
Vincent Frasco is inside his 10-yard line. He's going to be taking this one at the 20-yard line, and he's going to be taken just short of the 30-yard line, and they'll start this drive at their own 26-yard line. Yes, Tom, I'm with you, especially in a game like this, and you have a big game against Exeter. You're up 41-0. You don't want to have any injuries happen to a lot of your starters, but you have to come into the third quarter, at least get them some reps going in, being ready against Exeter.
Well, that's just it. You want him ready. You want him in condition for that. Tony Johnson's a big conditioning guy, and so is Bobby Nimblett too. He wants his guys out there a long time, because they're going to have a tough game against Timberlane next week. That's going to be a must-do-or-die situation for them.
Brady hands this one to number 21 for the Broncos. That's number Sean Sipsey. But he is met in the backfield again by Bishop Guertin defenders.
Loss of 2 on the play.
Loss of 2 for Sipsey. He had no running room, as this Alvirne Bronco front line is this game pushed back by the front 4 of Bishop Guertin. 41-0 is our score here on National TV. Alongside Tom King, I'm Ryan Richer, as Bishop Guertin takes on the Alvirne Broncos, who are desperate need of trying to get a win tonight, but it's not going to happen, and they're going to hope that next week against Timberlane they can come out with a win and possibly earn the 4th seed in the playoffs. Vincent Frasco goes in motion. Brady looked like he was going to hand it to number 24, Jesse Horn, but busted play in the backfield.
Horn didn't think he was going to get the ball. He thought it was going to be play action, and then
Cardinals to start from the 50.
Mom, Dad, I need to talk to you. I'm scared.
I don't think I can go back to school tomorrow. There's a guy and some of his friends who are after me.
They hate my clothes, the way I talk, everything about me. I know.
You're stupid and ugly.
Did you hear me? I'm scared.
Listen to what they have to say. Take a stand. Lend a hand. Stop bullying now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stellos Stadium on this Halloween evening where the rain has started to pick up. But in the first half, it has been all Bishop Guertin as they lead 41-0. Ryan Richer and Tom King here in the booth at Stellos Stadium. And Tom, in the first half, it has been a one-sided affair as Bishop Guertin has steamrolled through this Alvirne Bronco team so far.
Well, right now with 4 picks by Reedy, 2 returned for touchdowns, and the yardage 205-9. That is a tough disparity to overlook. You know, Steve Cooper with a great night, 3 for 4 for 125 yards, 1 touchdown. Scotty St. Lawrence, two catches for 99 yards, 1 touchdown. Guertin really hasn't had to run the football that much. Their leading rusher right now is Koopa. He's got, actually their leading rusher is Tommy Barilli. Barilli's got 29 yards on 3 carries.
Yep, in the first half, you also saw 2 big plays by Mike Kelly, the touchdown reception, and also pick 6.
And Alvirne, Sean Sipsey, the only one really doing a whole lot, 7 carries for 8 yards. So that's a tough story to tell.
Yep.
And for Alvirne, it's going to be tough. And in the second half, will be running time, exception of coaches' timeouts, injuries, and penalties. So even with penalties, they will stop the clock. They will not stop the clock on first downs or changes of possession.
Alvirne will receive the ball first in the second half, and hopefully head coach Bob Niblick got through to his players and they maybe show a better performance in the second half as they are trailing 41-0 right now to the defending champs.
So if you're wondering how much time is going to be left to watch here on ETV, at probably about a half an hour's time, because 24 minutes and counting running time.
Frasco backtracking, and this one will go into the end zone, and Alvirne will start at their own 20-yard line.
And you can see as they do keep the clock running. That normally would stop if it was not running time, but it's not. It is running time, and the clock is ticking.
And Bishop Guertin is used to this running clock, as mostly throughout the season they have this blowing out their opponents.
One game where it didn't take effect was last week against Keene.
Now, was that the first time all season? I
got to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure. I know it was not running time against Pinkerton, I don't think, because that was a 35-7 game.
Wow.
So I don't believe it was running time in that football game either.
Reedy hands this one up to Sean Sipsey. Sean Sipsey has an open space, and he has a great gain for Alvirne to start this second half. Sean Sipsey to the right and gets about a 6-yard gain.
Again, I just think he's the guy who's done the most for Alvirne tonight, Ryan, and I think you just want to keep the ball in his hands.
Great run by Sipsey there. Brings on a 2nd down and 4 for the Broncos at their own 26-yard line.
It had started to rain at halftime, but I think it's still kind of a little bit of drizzle out there, but not as hard as it was.
Reedy hands this up to Sipsey again to the right side and close to a 1st down.
And there we go. Finally, they give Sean Sipsey back-to-back carries, because I think that's what you need to do with a guy who's running the ball the way he is.
I think that's the first time all night Sipsey's got back-to-back carries.
And he's got
first down.
And he's got Alvirne's first down of the night. So 4 yards for Sipsey. He had 8 yards coming in. He's got 18 yards, 10 yards and 2 carries.
That is the first down for the Broncos in this game. Now going to be met in the backfield by a host of defenders for Bishop Guertin. A big loss on the play. And that's number 15, Vincent Frasco, who could not go anywhere as he's wrapped up for a big loss for the Alvirne Broncos.
And we've got a little injury on the play for the Cardinals.
That is Matt Flynn on the ground for Bishop Guertin.
Yep. He's the brother, I think he's the brother of Mike Flynn. So he is down on the ground as we have the 2nd defensive unit in there, but he's up and going. He just took a little sharp blow, I think, to his back, a little pain, and he's up and walking off under his own power. But this is the 2nd unit now for Guertin defensively. I think Tony Johnson really challenging his team after last week's poor showing by the backups against Keene, and wants them to show better, and right now that was a good penetration
Reedy hits us the Frasco to the right side, goes head over heels, and he's going to be down before fumbling the ball.
Well, I'd like to see that on replay again to see if that was a fumble or not, because he certainly hit the ground without the ball in his hands. But again, Vinny Frasco, I'm surprised Alvirne hasn't tried to use him a little bit more offensively tonight.
Yeah, I don't know how many carries he has on that, but he hasn't touched the ball that much.
He has none. He has not touched the ball from scrimmage.
So it's going to be a 3rd down and 14 for Alvirne at their own 27-yard line after that Frasco run. Reedy under center. Reedy fakes it up, and now is going to go deep for his wide receiver. It's incomplete pass.
Almost another pick, and could have been offensive pass interference, but they didn't call it.
Reedy was trying to hook up with Dan Connolly that time, but Connolly could not find the ball, and now it's going to be 4th down and 14 for the Broncos. Big stop for the second unit of Bishop Guertin right there to force a punt.
Tough night for the Alvirne offense. Just when they get a rhythm going, all of a sudden a couple of carries and they lose yardage and they get stuck with a 3rd down pass play.
Bishop Guertin will receive this at the 40-yard line and be run out of bounds close to the 45. That's where they'll have their first possession of the second half.
Yeah, Pete Fucci takes the ball on the fly. Didn't see any room, so he figured he'd go out of bounds, but doesn't stop the clock. The clock keeps ticking under the running time rule, and here we go.
Usually
1st and 10 for the Cardinals, and we will see their backups as well on offense.
And quarterback Chris Kujawski will be under center for the Cardinals. With 7 minutes to go and counting in this 3rd quarter, Bishop Guertin is up big 41-0 over the Alvirne Broncos. I formation in the backfield for Bishop Guertin. One receiver split to the right side. They hand this one up to the middle. I believe that's Barilli, and he gets a short gain on the play.
Now you say Barilli, well, isn't he a starter? No, Barilli on offense is a backup. He starts a lot on defense and is out there a lot. But on offense, he's probably 4th down on the depth chart in terms of running backs, behind Cassis, Nick Phillips, and Mike Kelly and a few other players. So but he's inching his way up, that's for sure. I mean, he was higher up earlier in the year when he was healthy.
2nd down and 7 for Bishop Guertin. Receiver split to each side of the play. Kujawski now hands it to Bateson. Bateson has some nice running room. He's across the 50 and taken down close to the 45-yard line.
Tim Bateson, another backup that we hadn't seen, but we saw last week against Keene, played a little bit. Gets probably one of the better runs he's had this year, a 1st down run.
Bateson showing his speed that time and results in a 1st down for Bishop Guertin.
6:28 to play here in the 3rd quarter. 41-0 in favor of the Bishop Guertin Cardinals, who will move to 7-0 in Division II, 9-0 on the year. The showdown of unbeatens next week. Guertin against Exeter. And we'll have it for you on ETV
Option
next
to the left of the
Saturday
side. Kujawski keeps it. He's up the middle. He has some running room. Wide open. No one's going to catch him. This is a touchdown run by Chris Kujawski, 45 yards into the end zone.
And there are no flags down. It's a 45-yard touchdown run by Kujawski.
45 yards.
That time, Kujawski up the middle, broke a couple tackles, and right when he hit the open field, no one was going to catch him.
You're done now.
Now it's going to be 47-0, Bishop Guertin up top, pending the extra point.
And the clock does stop after a score. And I believe it'll probably rewind again after the extra point. Kujawski, 45-yard run. Boy, he has really shown, but what depth. He's a senior. Tony Johnson giving him, has a lot of confidence in him, and he, has 51 yards on the ground running the football.
Yeah, like you said, Kujawski has come in at key points during the season when Koopa's come out off injuries.
He came into that Pickering game because the injury Koopa suffered against Catholic Memorial was an aggravation of an injury he suffered in the opener against Pickering, when Kujawski had to come in and play in the second half, and he played a lot in the second half against Pickering.
And right there we saw the big play by Kujawski as he taken that one 45 yards for the touchdown. Now it's 48-0, Bishop Guertin up big.
Now I want to know who wrote this running time rule and why they don't tick the clock. If you're going to have running time, then why not have running time?
I'm with you. Yes.
If you're going to have a mercy rule, why not have running time?
Too
many stoppages in running time. I would keep it going for penalties. I would keep it going after scores. The only time I would stop it is if a coach calls timeout or if there's an injury on the field.
Very true.
Because in hockey, there is running time with penalties and after scores. So why not make it uniform?
Frasco at the 20, has an open space. Frasco in the open field. Frasco going to be taken down close to the 45-yard line. Nice return that time by Vincent Frasco.
And that is what Vincent Frasco can do. He can return the ball. He's got the speed. He is the one guy, I think, on Alvirne that's got, besides Sipsy's shown a little shiftiness, we haven't seen Sipsy in the open field to see his speed, but Frasco has got some speed. And he's probably somebody that you want to have touch the ball an awful lot if you're an Alvirne Bronco fan.
Vincent Frasco showing his speed time.
But you know what? He plays two ways, so that's, and that takes a lot out of a kid.
Reedy now hands this one up to Sipsy. Sipsy in the open space. Sipsy to the left side. Sipsy into Bishop Guertin territory, close to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, Guertin did not defend that well. There was nobody out on that side. That may have been a misalignment on Guertin's part because Sipsy had all day long to get to that left side.
This is the first time for Alvirne being in Bishop Guertin territory since the first quarter off that pooch kick that they recovered early to start the game. Reedy under center for Alvirne. Sipsy deep in the backfield. Reedy going to find a receiver over the middle, and it's hooked up and caught for a first down for Alvirne at the 25-yard line.
One of the things that angered Tony Johnson last week when they played Keene was that his second unit was not on defense, was not able to stop the Blackbirds, and they allowed 2 scores. And and one of the things that bothers him is he's losing 33 seniors on this team this year. He's going to have to rely on these kids next year. And he says they are going to have to stop the other team's first offensive units this year.
This is Horn again. Horn with a nice run. Excuse me, that's Sean Sipsy with a nice run close to the first down. Chris Underwood caught that pass previous for the first down for Alvirne, and Sipsy gets another nice run for Alvirne. Yes, I'm with you. When you have so many seniors, your underclassmen need to step up and play big in these types of situations.
And that's the thing is, now who are they playing against? Are they playing against the team's number one unit? Well, yes, they may be, but you know what? Next year they may be playing against some of those same kids. And that is Johnson's point in why he wants them to be able to perform well when they go out on the field.
Reedy hands this one up to the middle, and that's a first down for Alvirne. Number 44, Tyler Doobie on the play.
And that was tough because Doobie could have been thrown for a loss as Jeremy Bain, 6'1 sophomore, 182 pounds, had him in the backfield, went for the wrap, and I hate to say it because it is Halloween, but the running back was a ghost. He wasn't there when Bain, came up looking for the tackle. So a missed tackle leads to that game.
Reedy fakes it to Doobie this time. He's going to go across the middle, but pounded is his wide receiver, his incomplete pass.
And he's down on the ground. And I can't blame him for being down. He took a pounding. I didn't see who hit him, but he took a shot.
A great hit. Can't see what number is down for Alvirne right now, but that's Calvin Alvarado that made the big hit for Bishop Guertin.
Kyle Remillard right in and boom, just nailed him. And it looked like he was going to get back up.
It did.
But then couldn't do it. 2:43 to play here in the third quarter. We've got a 48-0 Bishop Guertin lead as they tend to the injured Bronco. Next week, the Cardinals will take on Exeter. We will have that for you live on Nashua's ETV next Saturday night at 7 o'clock here at Stellos Stadium.
That is the game everyone's been waiting for in Division II.
Yeah, that is the game. Everyone waits for it every year in Division II. And, of course, with all the talk about realignment, we don't know if we'll have that game next year or not, whether it will be the game of the year in Division II. We don't know who's going to be in Division II next year.
Yeah, reading on NHIAA, it looks like Exeter might get moved up to Division I while West moves down. So that's the talk right now, but that'd be a shame.
I don't even look at those even trades. I just think they're going to have to just re-scramble everything and start from scratch and try to do what they want, or leave things as they are. I mean, West is going to have to move down because West just does not have the enrollment anymore.
Yes, they lost a lot of kids to Bedford.
Lost a lot of players to Bedford, a lot of athletes. They're going to have to retool their program. You don't want to see another Trinity situation where a team is insistent on staying up with the big boys and getting pounded week after week, and then finally realizing, oh, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
you
so
know.
it'd be a shame if Exeter gets moved up while Bishop Guertin's left to Division II, which, you know, it'd break up such a great rivalry in Division II.
Yeah, I would like to see, you'd like to see those two clubs stay together with what they do, but I'd like to see them stay. I'd like to see Division II stay as it is, and maybe add a couple teams, add a Bedford, and add a West, and stay that way and get a little bit more competitive in the underbelly of Division II, which is very competitive as it is, and then eventually you're going to get challenges to Exeter, and you're going to get challenges to Bishop Guertin. I would tend to think that Tony Johnson, who is the AD and the Guertin administration, while they would love to play in Division I, it would be great for the fans to see, especially this year with what they have. Don't forget, next year they'll listen to 33 seniors. That may opt into their decision a little bit because they have a little bit of say here because, you know, by their enrollment, they could go, you know, in a lower division because that's where their enrollment is.
Yeah, there was talk that they could maybe go down to Division III.
Well, that won't happen.
Yeah.
I don't think that would ever happen, but we are still waiting to see who that is on the field for the Alvirne Broncos.
As the Alvirne Bronco wide receiver took a big hit going across the middle of a Pat Reedy pass. He looked like he was going to catch it, but when he came down, it was an incomplete pass, and now has been on the ground for some time now. And they're bringing out the stretcher on the field. This is not a good sign.
Not a good sign at all. So that's going to be a tough situation.
Looks like they're bringing the board out. Maybe he possibly hurt his neck, and they're going to strap him to the board, so take him off the field that way.
Well, we don't want to speculate as to who that is. The naked eye, it looks like there's a number 8 on on one of the numbers. Not number 8 per se, but so we're going to have to wait and see. If when they lift him up, if we can just check and see who that number is, and that may be tough to do. But he did move, so he did move his extremities. So
that's
I don't
a good
think that's,
sign.
You know, he did move when he first got hit and was rolling around and wanted to get up. You at home can see it just about as closely as I can with my binoculars with our great camera work tonight.
Looks like it might be number 83 for Alvirne. Not too sure yet.
No, we guess it is. I think it's
Yep,
83. I think it's
83.
Dan Connolly, who's their best receiver. So that is a tough loss for the Broncos. We hope Dan Connolly is A-OK. Probably be a precautionary trip to the hospital.
Dan Connolly going across the middle took a big shot that time and just has been on the field for moments now, getting strapped and getting attended to by the medical service here at Stellos Stadium.
Head Guertin coach Tony Johnson out there with Bob Nimblett. That's on the far right upper corner of your screen. Tony Johnson just fitting out of view. That's Bob Nimblett, the head Alvirne coach with the baseball cap on, standing next to Tony Johnson. And I would probably believe that the people who are not school related out on the field are Dan Connolly's relatives, possibly his parents. So they are there to see him.
As they're looking down at their son, making sure he's okay.
Don't know if he got knocked out or not after he took that hit from Remillard.
Yeah, I'm not
He
too
seemed
sure what
to have
happened. He hit the
consciousness.
ground.
I was here a few years ago, Ryan, when Eric LaLiberty, then the quarterback for Bishop Guertin, it was I think 3 years ago, took a hit in a game against Timberlane trying to continue a play on a run on a two-point conversion. He dove into the end zone and got hit in midair.
Wow.
Helmet to helmet. There was no intent to injure on the other player's part. And Eric landed on the ground, got up, said he was okay, and then dropped right to the ground. So he had suffered a very tough concussion, but he came back later on and played the rest of the year.
Yeah, you never know
So
when
he missed a few games, missed 3 or 4 games.
you never know when players are going full speed. What is going to be the reaction after the play?
Right. Guertin went on to win a championship that year. That was 3 years ago. Ryan Burgess was the quarterback who stepped in and played the middle of the year. And those plays actually helped Burgess the following year when he became the starter. He had a lot of confidence. But Guertin was the runner-up that year, the next year when Burgess was the starter. But Connolly will be tended to. And
Connolly, the
EMTs.
sophomore, 6'1", 175, being attended to right now on the field. Last week here at Stellos Stadium, we had a referee get taken out on the very first play against Pinkerton, and he was attended to, and now we have Dan Connolly. So
was he taken off in the stretcher?
yes, he was taken off
Was
in
he
the stretcher
really?
as well. Looked like Eric Ginto was running on the sidelines, and
Broken
a defender
pelvis?
might have just
Wow.
sideswiped him, and he was taken off to the sidelines, and now we have Dan Connolly being attended to by the medical staff here at Stellos Stadium.
And a blanket put over Connolly to keep him dry. And he will be taken off the field as we have a delay here. It's going on about 10 to 15 minutes or so.
And Connolly gets a big cheer from the
And
fans
he's
at
waving to
Stellos
the crowd,
Stadium.
which is a good sign as he waves to everybody. So that's a good sign for Dan Connolly. Just a precautionary measure, I think, on their part. And he will be taken to the nearest hospital, which I don't know if he'll go to Southern New Hampshire, or the nearest hospital from here would be St. Joseph's Hospital.
Yes. So either one.
Don't know which
very
one,
close.
Don't know which one they take him to. And now play has resumed, and it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Broncos. Threatening to score as they're on the Guertin 13-yard line.
Reedy under center, slot to the right side. Man in motion to the right. Reedy hands this one right up the middle. That's Doobie. Doobie has a nice little short run there for the Broncos.
Doobie had a short run and a good job for the Guertin defense, even after he got a lot of yardage, to stop that from going. It looked like he was going to have a clear path to the end zone, but Nolan Cornell was right there to make the stop and prevent him from getting a touchdown on that play, because it sure looked like the head of steam that Doobie had, he was going to make his way into the end zone as the clock continues to tick here. 1:55 to play here in the third quarter.
Reedy now hands it off to number 2 to the right side, but he's going nowhere, taken down towards the line of scrimmage. Number 2 for Alvirne is just as
Good penetration, and Kyle Remillard there to make the stop.
Yeah, we've seen Doobie get the ball 3 times on this possession for Alvirne. He seems to be, again, the hot hand right now in the backfield. It's going to bring on a 4th down and about 6 for the Broncos at their own 9-yard line of Bishop Guertin with minute 20 and counting. The Broncos are going to go for it here, trailing 48-0. Reedy going into the end zone, but this one is going to be intercepted in the end zone by Bishop Guertin. They're going to take this one out and being taken down close to the 10-yard line. That will be the 6th interception for Bishop Guertin tonight.
My goodness, Peter Fucci with the pick of Remillard, who's got to be talking to himself now after 6 picks. You heard a pick 6. You don't often hear 6 picks.
Yes,
that's what
you
we've got
don't.
tonight as the clock ticks down with 51 seconds to play here in the third quarter.
Alvirne Bronco offense is showing that they are struggling right now with without their starter John Baldwin at the helm. And Pat Reedy has had a bad night right now, throwing 6 picks. With 30 seconds and counting in the third quarter, Bishop Guertin has the ball, 1st down and 10 at their 8-yard line. Short run right now for Bishop Guertin.
Yeah, with Jonathan Baldwin over center, we said earlier, he's been pretty good learning on the job this year. His first year as a starting quarterback for Alvirne. And miss your starting quarterback and one of your better running backs and linebacker. That's tough, and that's one of the reasons we see a 48-0 score up here as we end the third quarter and get ready to start the fourth quarter.
Yep, we have played 3, and going into the fourth quarter, Bishop Guertin with a commanding lead, 48-0 over the Alvirne Broncos, and they have the ball to start this fourth quarter, and it's been all Bishop Guertin so far. And the defense right now has been the star of the show, 6 interceptions. It's this outstanding stat right now for this Bishop Guertin secondary, and returning 2 of those to the house for 6 points.
Steve Koopa tonight, he was 3 of 4 for 126 yards and 1 score. Pat Rhodes, two catches for 99 yards and a touchdown. Mike Kelly has a catch for 26 yards. He has a interception return for a touchdown. As the TDs just keep coming for Bishop Guertin, who will undoubtedly face their, well, you call it their toughest test of the year against Exeter, or their second toughest test, depending on how you rate Exeter and Pinkerton.
Yeah, very true.
With Guertin starting the year off against Pinkerton. Tough game there.
And we saw what happened in that game. Bishop Guertin came out on top with a huge win.
Right, led 21-7 at halftime, so it wasn't like they were blowing the Astros out of the water. Yeah, ball was out, recovered, I think, by the Broncos on a fumble. Wait and see. Yep.
And Broncos do have the ball. Bishop Guertin's first turnover on the game, and Alvirne will have the ball near the 10-yard line. Bishop Guertin's offense turned the ball over that time, while Alvirne's D makes a big stop.
.11:03 left in the football game.
As Tom pointed out in the second half, we have a running clock since his margin is more than 35 points. Reedy hands this one up to number 2, but number 2 is met in the backfield. Wow, big stop that time for Bishop Guertin defense, as Alvirne got nothing going that time.
Alex Eaton on the tackle.
Alex Eaton jumping across for Guertin, making that stop
Loss on the play.
in the backfield. You can tell the second unit defense took to heart the words of Tony Johnson after last week's game.
4-yard loss on the play. Brings on a 2nd down and 14 at the 17-yard line of Bishop Guertin. As Bishop Guertin is up 48-0 over the Alvirne Broncos. Reedy under center. Reedy hands this one up the middle, but is met in the backfield by a host of Cardinal defenders.
Wonder if you heard that at home.
Jesse Horn was on the run the ball for Alvirne, and a big hit that time.
Wonder if you heard that hit at home, because we heard it here up in the booth.
As soon as Jesse Horn took the handoff, he was met by a couple of Bishop Guertin defenders. It's a loss of 2 as it's 3rd down and 15 now at the 18-yard line. Reedy hands this one to the right side. It gets a short gain for Alvirne. It's going to bring on a 4th down for the Broncos.
Now, if you're the Broncos, do you want to avoid the shutout and go for it on 4th down here, or avoid the shutout by trusting your kicker to boot one through the uprights?
Let's see what head coach Bob Nibley goes with
I
there.
don't see a kicker out there, not that I can see, so I think they're going to go for it here on 4th and 11. I would. Ball on the 14-yard line.
Try to get this ball in the end zone as time is winding down. 4th down and 11 for the Broncos.
You know, Reedy is playing against a level of player that he's normally used to playing against. So
Reedy rolling to his left side, tries to find an open receiver, but it's incomplete pass. And it'll be a turnover on downs for the Broncos. That time Reedy had one man into the about a 5-yard out pass, but this overshot him, an incomplete pass.
On the 14.
He was looking for Nicholas Goldsack that time. Just could not hook up. It will be a turnover on downs for the Broncos, as Bishop Guertin will have this ball at their own 14-yard line.
And the clock winds down, as we said, with running time, 8:33 to play. Guertin now with a good new quarterback. Kujawski is out. Robert Fahey is in now as the Cardinal quarterback.
He's the 3rd string for the Cardinals.
Again, we just don't know what the effect was of losing Jonathan Baldwin.
Fahey pitches this one, and Bishop Guertin has a nice 5-yard gain on the play.
What kind of offense would Alvirne have run with Baldwin at the helm? Would they have thrown the ball as much? Would they have tried to keep it on the ground? What would they have done? You know?
Well, I think when you have Baldwin, you at least have the option of passing. where when you got Reedy, you're only one-dimensional, and you've seen it tonight as they've only been able to run the ball, but not for much.
Right. And when they've thrown it, it's usually wound up in a green jersey's hands.
2nd down and 5 for Bishop Guertin at their own 19-yard line. As time is winding down, with 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, Bishop Guertin is up 48-0 here on Nashua ETV. He hands it up the middle this time. And met at the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a minimum gain at the play. Now, Tom, you've seen a lot of Bishop Guertin teams throughout the years. You know, since 2004, they've been to the championship game 5 straight times, won 3 in a row, 4 overall, including last year's state championship game against Exeter as they won 14-7. Where does this team rank in your mind?
That's the best I've seen. I don't think there's any doubt about it. It's the best I've seen. They have more speed than any of those other teams, and those other teams had a lot of speed. You know, speed is always something that Tony Johnson strives for when he tries to get players on his team. And they've got it, and they've used it to their advantage in special teams, on defense, and on offense. This is the first time they've had speed all across the board, offensively, defensively, and special teams. Usually, well, this is the fastest defense I've ever had, he would say. Or this is the fastest offense ever. Now, this time, all across the board, all three areas of the field, special teams, offense, and defense, they have tons of speed, and that's why this team is probably the best one.
Yes, this team is looking very good, and going into the postseason, they're going to be the team to beat, it looks like.
And if they win next Saturday night, they will play the remainder of their games right here at Stellos Stadium.
Fahey on that last run to get the 1st down for the Cardinals. He hands this one up to the middle, number 15, and 15 has about a 4-yard gain on the play.
And that's Andrew O'Reilly, 5'5", 135-pound sophomore. A lot of sophomores on the field right now for both clubs.
Yep, well, like you said, Tony Johnson wants to get his sophomore some playing time in some varsity games to get them ready for next year.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at next year. You're going to have Kelly. Mike Kelly's going to be a big factor. He's going to get the ball a lot more than he does this year. Because he's only a junior. You're going to have a few other players that are out there that you're going to have to rely on.
And plus, Steve Koopa's coming back next year. He's only a junior, so
That's
big
right.
things expected from him next year.
Right, so you've got some skill position people back, but what you lose is a little bit up front.
Another big
nice
run
haul.
there. And that's
Nice
more
haul.
than a 1st down for Andrew O'Reilly as he gets the ball down to the 50-yard line.
O'Reilly saw the hole, hit it very quickly, and then cut up to his left and get some good yardage, about 14, 15 yards up to the 49-yard line. Clock continues to tick, 5:12 to play in the football game, 48-0 in favor of Bishop Guertin.
Now looking forward to the next week's game against Exeter. What can we expect from the Blue Hawks coming into that game?
Well, I haven't seen Exeter since the end of September, and I don't know what to expect. I think they're going to be a different team. They won't have their quarterback won't be the focal point the way Andrew Kukesh was last year, but their quarterback's done some nice things for them, including running for a touchdown when I saw him play against Alvirne. So they will probably try to run the ball an awful lot, try a lot of misdirections, try a lot of different type of misdirection handoffs. Guertin's going to have to keep a very close eye on the football, and defensively, Guertin is going to have to make sure they do not overrun the play. That is one thing that these Cardinal defenses that have had speed in past years have been guilty of doing, and this team has done it a couple of times this year as well, is overrunning the ball, overrunning the play, because you're in that backfield so quickly that the ball could be gone before, by the time you turn around, where's the ball? It's by you.
Yep, but how does Exeter defend the offense of Bishop Guertin, which has so much team speed? This O'Reilly again, who gets another close, big run to close to the sticks.
Well, I think what Exeter is going to try to do is make Guertin as one-dimensional on offense as possible. Try to get in the backfield. Try to limit Steve Koopa's choices as to what he does on the option and what he does when he drops back to throw. And, again, I think for Exeter, because they've got great athletes in that secondary, is what they've got to do is force Guertin into some 3rd and longs. And that's how they keep this game. That's how they stay in the game and have a good chance of beating Guertin if they're able to do that.
Yep. Well, it should be a great game.
Because offensively, they have the formula. Offensively, they have the formula of hold the ball and run it and run it and run it and take time off the clock. Keene showed that last week. That can be done against Guertin's defense. If you force Guertin's defense to play backwards instead of frontwards, instead of having them come off the ball and be the aggressor. If you turn the tables and be the aggressor, then that will negate some of that speed on defense that they have.
Yep.
And also keep the ball out of the hands of their offense. That's how you beat this team. It's easier said than done, though, Ryan.
Yes, great point, Tom. This O'Reilly again to the left side, gets a short gain. And look at the standings. Next week's game is the battle for the 1 seed. Whoever wins next week is the number 1 team in the division, and the loser will get the 2 seed. It looks like Winnicott will probably be the 3rd seed. Then next week's game, Alvirne versus Timberlane should be locked for the 4th seed.
That should be the game for the 4th spot. And Alvirne hopes to have their starting player. Hopes to have their 2 big players, Baldwin and Goldsack, back. And of course, you've got to keep in mind concussions are tricky things. And after all things that have happened on the professional and college level, coaches and schools are very careful with their kids when they suffer concussions. You have to be. You have no choice. That is a very serious injury when someone suffers a concussion, because the effects could be lasting. You don't know. So, that's something they're going to have to look at. But you could see Alvirne right back here in 2 weeks at Stellos Stadium in a playoff game against the Cardinals, and that would be fun, especially if they have their best players back.
This time, Bishop Guertin gets nowhere on the run. With 1:30 to go in the 4th quarter, Bishop Guertin up huge, 48-0 over the Alvirne Broncos, as they're going to win and can remain undefeated on the year.
1:20 to play. Now, who is that at quarterback? Did I hear you say Velas? PA man said Velas. That must be one of the younger Velases.
Another Velas.
It's not Bain, obviously. It's a number 20, but it's a number 20 from one of the sub-varsities.
Yes, because number 20 on our roster
and
says
what's his
Matthew Bain.
And what is his first name? So so we have another Velas here, huh? I did not know that. 50 seconds clock ticking down. And this will be a shutout for the Cardinals. And I think if you told Bobby Dimlett that your team was going to struggle offensively without Jonathan Baldwin, a quarterback, and without Nick Goldsack, I think he would have probably agreed with that. I think the loss of Baldwin probably overshadows the loss of Goldsack, because Goldsack would be on defense, but the interceptions certainly hurt the Alvirne Broncos here tonight. Cannot turn the ball over against this type of offense and expect to come away with a victory.
That was the killer for the Alvirne Broncos, as Bishop Guertin is going to win this one, as time is going to expire on the clock, as they're going to win 48-0 over the Alvirne Broncos, as they will improve their record to 7-0 on the year, remain undefeated, while Alvirne will fall to 3-4 on the year. But their hopes of a playoff dreams are still up for grabs if they beat Timberlane next week. Our final score here is 48-0. Tom, your final thoughts on tonight's game?
Well, just a situation where the Broncos came in undermanned against the best team in Division II. Some would argue the best team in New Hampshire, and it showed, and you just can't get away with that. You put your defense in a tough position when you turn the ball over 6 times, and that's what the Broncos did tonight. Guertin, they have the ability to score anywhere on the field with the right people get their hands on the football, and the right people like Mike Kelly and a few other players did tonight for the Cardinals, and were able to turn those turnovers into touchdowns, and they win 48-0.
Yes, well said, Tom. I'd like to thank our camera guys, Tim O'Neill, Jim McLean, who gave us great shots for tonight's game.
Don't forget Mike Janes, our audio man.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Mike Janes, our audio director, made sure everything was working before today's game.
And Mr. Pete Johnson, our producer, executive producer here at ETV.
Also, our announcer for today's game at Stellos Stadium, Corey Janess. He did a fine job. I also like to thank my partner in crime, Tom King. Thanks for breaking down all the action today.
All right, Ryan, great working with you. We'll see you next week, next Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Bishop Guertin against Exeter, live right here from Stellos Stadium, the game of the year in Division II, right here on Nashua's ETV. Take care, everybody. Happy Halloween.